So when I was deciding to make a saltwater tank, I was looking into all the different kinds of filtration that there were. And while initially these guys were in a smaller tank and I used more traditional filtration, like canister filter and UV filter, this tank is powered only by heat and air pump and plants. There's some mangroves in there, and there's some macro algae, and then more up on that hill, mermaid's tail. So the tank can be its own filtration. So in the ocean, sand is what keeps everything clean. All the debris sinks down into it, it breaks down, the bacteria eat it, that goes up. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just following what nature does. And I was looking into Victorian times, how they kept saltwater bowls, because I think one example I found, the lady kept her coral bowl alive for 3 years, and they didn't have electricity. They didn't have no heat. They didn't have no air pumps. They were just like stirring that shit around with their hands or sticks, or pouring it back and forth between bowls to keep it oxygen rich. So if they can, in the Victorian times, keep a bowl alive for 3 years with no power, then I feel like this is a really sustainable option. So in here, I got 2 clownfish. Somewhere there's a starfish, and there's a sea urchin on the side of the glass by that macroalgae. Everything that's in here provides a function to the tank. The fish provide the ammonia for the nitrogen cycle. The deep sand bed provides, I can't remember the word right now, but another kind of filtration, because it has low to no oxygen in some parts. Because the undergravel filters, they're not like a solid all the way across. There's actually 3 individual undergravel filters in this tank. So they act independently, but also together. So there's mineralized soil inside media bags, topped with non-scented, non-clumping clay litter. And then above that is pool filter sand. Above that is black blasting sand, and then above that is live sand, shells, and rocks, and all that aids in the filtration of the tank to keep the numbers good. And I pay attention to how the fish act. I pay attention to my testing, and this has been up about 2 months now, and I only had to do my first water change like a couple weeks ago. So it stays stable for a really long time. So saltwater doesn't have to be expensive. And all those layers, I used non-aquarium versions of stuff to save even more money. Like the pool filter sand, that's cheaper than aquarium sand, for sure. You could also went cheaper and used play sand. The black blasting sand, the 5-pound bags of that at the pet store are like $15. That's how much my 50-pound bag was. So I'm getting 45 pounds for free. Yeah. And then above that was commercially bought live sand, because that was in a smaller tank. So that was established already. So the newest things are the mangrove trees and what I call the Flintstones cave, because does it not give the vibe of the Flintstones? Anyways, Darla and Alfalfa, they seem to really enjoy the tank. They just bobble around happily all the time. They're not stressed zipping back and forth like they were in the smaller tank. They are super chill fish. And anyways, if I can do it, you can do it too. You can saltwater on a budget. The tank I got for sale at half off at the Petco or whatever. I think it was Petco. And I know people talk shit about the aquarium brands because they got really thin glass. I do agree. That shit is really thin. But I actually do plan on reinforcing it because I am also building this hexagon tank. This was a really old tank, and I have the other rectangular slabs safe somewhere else. So I actually have another hexagon slab, and this is going to be not a vertical tank, but I'm transforming it into a horizontal tank. And it's got heli supports. I just haven't decided what I'm going to put in this yet, so I've been kind of putting that project on hold. But whatever I do, fish tank wise, that's also going to have a deep sand bed and probably mineralized soil at the base because plants really help filter things. And I think no matter what you have, saltwater or freshwater, you can find plants to put in an aid in your journey of cheap reefing.